where we're going to do the dialogue. Remember, this is a business session. It is no place to rehash speeches that you are interrupted during the day or you missed. We have no time for that. You will deal with the agenda we have before you. If you have a concrete proposal, outline what you suggest we should do. That's helpful to do that. Otherwise, ask for questions for clarification over these rich areas and agendas that have been mentioned. I just wanted to correct myself that I had forgotten, it's in my notes, but being nervous, I had forgotten to mention a wonderful area of culture which Ahmed brought back. Poetry, music, and song and dance should be included even stronger in our future meetings. It is the one thing we share in common that binds Somalis together, so that even though we live in different states, that is the commonality we have. I also forgot to mention gender. Gender hit the Congress for the first time. I should mention, each Congress, we got a new theme and we got new inputs to improve the organization. To answer it. So website was something new we got this time, but we got gender at the Holy Cross Congress in 1993. We got the other minority, the oppressed Somalis, Congress was hit with that by Virginia Lully, who did it here today, in the Hamburg Congress, second Congress. So each Congress we get a new input of agenda and with new techniques to improve our organization. Now, Professor Irma Kadar has a brief statement, and then we open.
Thank you very much, Professor Hussein, for giving me a couple of minutes before opening the floor. I'm a guest here in Somali Studies, so I thank you very much all the organizing here in Djibouti for allowing me to speak, or Dr. Hussein as well. Let me say that in a couple of minutes, very difficult, but try to manage because it's very big. Let me say the fact that what strikes me here, there is the absence of history. So there is no single history panel in this conference. If I remember, the one panel was scheduled with Professor Cassanelli, but probably the absence of colleagues, we changed. So it was not like this in the previous conference. I've seen, of course, many interventions based on history, particularly the illuminating keynotes of this morning, Professor Cassanelli, Professor Ahmed Samatar as well, Professor Mukhtar as well, and many other colleagues on Djibouti as well. But, of course, particularly papers based on Islam, based on history, but on intellectual as well. But probably what surprised me in comparison for the Denmark, for the overall conference that I attended, is there are few Somali women. Is it my impression or not? Probably in Aldo there were many Somali women attending the conference. So no, I'm not only encouraged, like Suzanne said, to speak about women, but first of all to open to Somali women. My other research is modern African history at the University of Bologna, and I'm engaged in Ethiopian and Eritrea, so I follow international organization every 3 years on Ethiopia, and I follow Sudan as well, and I attended, as many other colleagues here, the first and unique so far Eritrean conference, international Eritrean conference in Asmara in 2001. I'm also engaged in this new boarding committee of the Punt, the journal that dedicated the first issue now in Djibouti's history as well. So I'm trying to follow the Horn of Africa as much as I can. Plus, I organized a dissertation. We organized a dissertation in Bologna University according to the wider area of the research. Just recently, around 2000, 7 years ago, we opened a new field of research in Bologna University dealing with Somali studies. Next year we start in December 2008 to teach Somali languages as well. So we encourage these studies in Bologna. But my main message here is that I agree completely with the Lee presentation, but I emphasize even more in the field of history. I think cross-cultural studies on their own are particularly welcome in this discipline. They are necessary in the field of history and in modern history of the whole. So I want to go further. I think that we must reconnect the history of the whole in a unique context of any relevance before colonialism. This seems to me a good exercise. We have to probably a little bit, both in Ethiopian conference, in the Eritrean conference, Sudanese conference, even Ethiopian, even in Somali conference probably, we try to find as much as possible themes common and research in common, shared by scholars coming from the Horn of Africa as well. Let me mention that the conference that I tried to organize in Rome, and I contributed to organize in Rome in December 2002, the Horn of Africa between history, law and politics. Lee was present, Dr. Edna was present as well, from Somaliland, from Somalia, from Eritrea, scholars from Ethiopia. So we try to put together African scholars from the Horn, sharing their knowledge, and the conference stressed the necessity of avoiding the isolation of regional cases. Now the proceedings are out in Northeast African Studies, the next issue, it seems to me. In Rome, we analyze the Horn of Africa in a more comprehensive, we try to do, in a more comprehensive framework which is peculiar to the understanding of the present, but of understanding of the past, modern history. So I think we try to continue in this approach, and I strongly believe that Somalia, Somaliland, and even Djibouti histories must go beyond the post-colonial state set. So there is some generation new scholarship in Italy. New Italian scholars are studying now Somali more than before during the last decade. During the last 20 years, Italian experienced a decrease of Italian scholarship, as you know. In our group, for example, there was no single scholar on Italia, just one woman working in an NGO in Kenya dealing with Somalia. The only paper on Somali was made by Italians. So, just briefly, 2 areas of research are conducting now in Bologna, and political history and social history, 19th and 20th century of Somalia. I have 2 PhD dissertations, and this is one area. The other one is customary medicine and the present healthcare system in Somalia and Somaliland. I don't not have time to speak about this area, but there's Daria, my student here, my former student, now she's a doctor BA in anthropology, is here. She spent 3 months in Somaliland, just tried to engage in a project dealing with public and private healthcare. She has to finish the work in trying to compare Somaliland with Scotland as well. And I will take this opportunity to acknowledge Edna, our friend Edna, for her kindness to giving us a lot of information about her hospital. So even in healthcare system, we try to have an interregional approach, combining a different type of colonialism, social interactions. In our projects are based on different historical experiences, both today and in the past. The other area of the research is my main concern is political history of Somalia, particularly in the period of 1948-1947.
Professor Kadar, could you stop there?
Yes, okay. There is just...
The kind of thing you're doing is the kind of thing that is the agenda for this meeting, except people should be very outlined. Let me deal with what Susan raised just now. The Congress in Ohio prepared a draft page how to propose the next Congress. They circulated it, we corrected it, they already distributed it in the website. That is going to be followed. The people who are going to be involved, I already mentioned 6, 2 from Djibouti, 2 from the elders, or we call them Gurti, two, and the two from Ohio. Now, two countries have been mentioned. I want to mention to you. They are not going to be decided here, not at all, but at least you have some idea. Sweden approached us to say they would like to. I approached on my own, or as often I do, my brother Ahmed, and asked him to consider submitting Minneapolis as one of the sites. Why?
St. Paul.
St. Paul, sorry, St. Paul. Why? Because he has put together an intellectual journal of first class. And no professional association goes without having an intellectual journal. So we have an intellectual journal which can publish immediately all the selected papers. Not only that, he would, you know his style already, you've seen his efficiency, he would try to at least circulate, referee the papers, proposals, so we can raise our level of presentations, you know, and so forth. That's the end of that topic. We are now open to other.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Je voudrais juste répondre à Monsieur le représentant de l'Université de Djibouti. Et je voudrais proposer que je vais envoyer 4...
The 5th Congress, Mending Ribs, together with my book and 2 other edited books by Somali scholars. They are on the way to here, but that's the kind of concrete things we would like to hear about. I think I saw the hand of Shams.
I would like to make one point clear. I forget your name. Yes. Kadar. It was really interesting what you have mentioned, but one has to make it very clear when you mention the disintegration of the Somali state and therefore having the Somali studies and probably the dichotomy or the paradox of that and what one could do. What I would like to highlight is, or probably even more to stress, is what collapsed is the Somali modern nation, modern state. And one is aware modern state is the 19th century European invention. So that is what collapsed. But Somali nation, Somali people, I think the population is even more, and the educated people in terms of education, coastal education is more, and plus Islamic education is more, and Somalis are having links to the international world, both Europe, mainland Europe, England, and also New Zealand, Australia. And I think there are dynamics that we haven't seen before, which need to be really looked at. And one should not be really worried or disappointed. Of course, we are aware, because of the existence of the United Nations and institutions like that, the pressing need of having a central state that really secures the national boundaries and what have you. But apart from that, the Somalis are really ever more present, even much more than ever before, speaking different languages and having different passports, and there is a positive thing. I would like any studies, including this, not only to presume that there's a doom and gloom. There's a lot of, in fact, positive things happening, and if I can briefly mention, for instance, a place like UK, the first 10 years people were confused, no jobs, because the whole state, one fine morning, was unemployed, everybody was unemployed. And that has a shocking situation. But you can see the other 10 years, now you can find Somali student union in different parts of England. You can see Somali business people challenging the Asian business people. And in fact, the Asian, particularly Indians, have banned Somali businesses somewhere serving. So to make it short, there are a lot of dynamics and really very interesting, both scholarship as well as entrepreneurship, that needs to be looked at. So the disintegration of the Somali state doesn't necessarily mean the collapse or the disappearance of the Somali people. Thank you.
waxaan rabaa inaan sheego keliya Professor Samatar uu ku meeshan karay ecology is also marka anigu waxaan scientist marka halkaas soo paper baan iska tuuraba Glasgow University waa Kenya arrin Soomaalida ugu tagayso oo baan halkan keenay marka waxaan isla wax badan oo ugu furo dadka scientist ah laakiin anigoo ardayda baa kii Soomaaliya lagu qabtay baan mar jaalsooy deegaanada baan ku waxaysay maybe waqtiga dheer Somali studies has come of age so we are from the beginning and that's scientist marka I'm glad in our information base waxaan jeclahay in la sii xoojin that's it
marka aan ku ballanay in to think anew oo sidoo hore si ka bedelan waxaan qabaa laba arrinba horta aqoon-yahanada Soomaaliyeed ama aqoon-yahanada Soomaaliya ka qoran kulligeed horta in loo duceeyo ilaahay cilmiga naafic inuu ka dhigo maxaa jira nabigu wuxuu yidhi allahumma inni a'uudu bika min cilmin laa yanfac waxaan ka cabsanaya cilmigeena inuusan cilmi waxtara ahaynba maxaa jira muxuu ahaa horta inaad duceysano oo aan ilaahay ka qorno cilmigeena inuu naafic ka dhigo taa mid waaye midda labaad inaan la iibin marka taas isku nimiday inaan dadka ayna da'da ah dadkayna kala ka culumadayna joogta iyo hooyooyinka joogaa inaan duceysano horta oo dadka u duceyno iyo dadka dhibaataysna inaan la iibin oo noo noqoto culture cusub oo hadda ka bacdi ducaa ku ballanno isku imaadayna ilaahay barino dhamaadkana aan duca ku khidmadahay waa maasantiin
anuguna hadalka badin maaye Soomaalida waxay tiraahdaa hadalna sii dhawaa dilay markaa mahadnaqa waan idinla qabnaa madaxweynaha jamhuuriyadda dalka Djibouti hay'adaha baarista jaamacadda anagoo qaybgalayaashiina waxaan idiin mahadnaqaynaa intiinii qabanqaabisay ka qayb gashay guurtidiina iyo madaxdiina halkaa fadhida assalaamu calaykum waraxmatullahi wabarakaatu
هذا ما استطاع مستر جرمان أنا وحق طبعا هل سيجشل وعادي ما دام يجونا قبل وحواي سوجيتاكس أفكار عربية أو كبيرة أفكار صباح وقام شو ورقة السوق دي ويا لغته إنه كبيرة أفكار لغة كونغرس إيو أفكار لغة وياهي أم بيتهاي إنه مبلش كريه قرارات المبايبرات اللي سوق بناش فما
waxaan doonayaa inaan ku daro ereyooyinka la doonayay in wax laga soo qoro mid muhiim ah oo ah Somalization of knowledge inaynu ku darsano taasoo laga yaabo inay maaragtay change wanaagsan samayso sababtaan taa u leeyahay waxa weeye waxa wanaagsan in la helo oo Soomaalidu ay dhaqso ugu baahan tahay discipline-ka u horeeyo ah education-ka in af Soomaaliya lagu barto for example waayo macallimiinta ilaa primary oo dhan af Soomaali baa lagu dhigaa waxaan u baahanahay ama aan tarjumo ama aan curriculum-kan samaysano Somalization of knowledge-na inay important tahay kullayna way imanaysaa in markaa wixii loo baahan yahay discipline-nada loo baahan yahay in lagu qorto af Soomaali ayaa muhiim ah intellectualism way noo soo saaraysaa haddaynu af Soomaaliga ku barro carruurteena education-ka waxaan ka wadaa matalan ilaa lesson preparation, class management, curriculum development, foundations, administration. waxaasoo dhan waxaa loo baahan yahay in af Soomaali lagu qoro oo lagu dhigo taasina waa mid muhiim ah inaad ku darsataan baan talada ku daray ta kale doonaya inaan soo jeediyo waxa weeye markaa igu horeysa aniga congress aan kasoo qayb galo aad iyo aad baan runtii u jeclaystay waana dhiirigelisay waxaan jecelahay in la badiyo waqtiyada la qabanayo oo haddii aan saddexdaas sanadood internationalka la qaban karin noo ogolaado qolooyinka iyaga localka ah inaanu qabsano sanadkiiba mar oo aan ereyooyinkan u baahanay kordhino waayo waxaa loo baahan yahay in la dedejiyo change-ka uu association-ka ku samaynayo dadka Soomaalida markaa markii muqdisho lagu qabto hargeysa lagu qabto wajeero kale lagu qabto jigjiga lagu qabto riska ugu wanaagsanna marba saddexdii sanadood la soo present gareeyo shirkan oo kale la keeno taana waan ku talin lahaa wasalaamu calaykum
Pour nous, c'est une opportunité ou avantage de participer, nous, les jeunes djiboutiens, ou les jeunes chercheurs djiboutiens, de participer au 10e congrès d'études Somali et de fréquenter des gens qui sont bien anciens de nous et qui sont traités de sujets importants sur la Corne de l'Afrique. Et ma deuxième chose, pour nous aussi, c'est une grande fierté de traiter les sujets à nous-mêmes. Parce que des fois, la Corne de l'Afrique ou la Somalie, c'est des gens qui sont venus à l'extérieur, qui traitent les sujets de la Corne de l'Afrique. Mais quand je parle à moi-même sur l'islam ou sur le soufisme de la Corne de l'Afrique et je vis à l'intérieur de la région, peut-être j'ai des contacts directs avec les sujets. Et les troisième chose, c'est des remarques sur les conférences, c'est les congrès. Les premières choses, c'est le temps. Le temps de communication, c'était insuffisant parce que pour traiter un sujet scientifique, dans 10 minutes, c'était pas normal. Normalement, il faut qu'on voit si c'était le 8e congrès se déroulé à même temps. C'est un peu dommage qu'on fait 10 minutes de communication. C'est pas normal. Et troisième point, c'est le problème de langue. On ne sait pas jusqu'à maintenant c'est quelle langue qui appartient les congrès d'éthique Somalie. C'est l'anglais ou c'est l'arabe ou c'est les français, parce que je pense que le français c'est Djibouti qui a ajouté, mais je pense que la langue officielle, à mon point de vue, c'est l'anglais. Mais il y a des gens qui ne comprennent pas l'anglais, et puis il y a un problème de traduction qui prend aussi des temps. Il faut qu'on, l'ancien collègue, il faut qu'on traite cette problématique. Et troisième chose, si on regarde les sujets qui sont figurés ici des jours les 13 jusqu'à les 15, on voit qu'il n'y a pas d'équilibre sur les sujets. Il y a un manque ou l'absence d'équilibre. Des fois, je pense que c'est la littérature qui a pris plus de place par rapport aux études scientifiques. Il faut qu'on voit des équilibres sur ce point-là. Et aussi l'absence de l'étude et situation actuelle de la Somalie. Parce que je pense qu'on n'a pas bien traité les sujets actuels. Les pouvoirs qui sont sur place, je ne sais pas si il va remonter l'allergie ou les conflits qui sont entre les tribus somaliennes, mais il faut dire la vérité et il faut au moins laisser l'arrière-pensée derrière nous et il faut traiter de façon objective les sujets qui sont l'actualité. C'est ce que je dis, voilà, et je vous remercie.
Like me, I missed today one congress. The first congress in Mogadishu had a few panels which spoke in Somali, only a few. This is the first congress I have ever attended where there has been at least 3 languages. The Ohio Congress in August, which I came from, dominated 100% English. And almost everywhere, the German Congress, English. This is the first time, and the reason is the equipment, like what Djibouti has given us, we didn't have this equipment, so we couldn't have any translations. Occasionally, an individual volunteered to translate, a speech. But your point is well taken, and we have to work hard to improve the language communication. We are going to close.
I just wanted to take on 2 points. I think it's a good idea that there's young blood coming into the organizational structure, because this whole issue of using technology and the internet basis, it's a good thing. Because I know my dad started using internet, like, I don't want to say what year, but that's another story. But the other thing I wanted to add is that I think the issue of balance, I think Professor Cassanelli has brought up, and I think Professor Samatar also was talking about the politics, but also it's a balance between internal and external issues. I think there's an overemphasis on internal issues, and there's overemphasis on politics. But I think even the whole world is struggling with the whole changing dynamics of the global economy. I mean, we are overly emphasizing the US and Europe and North America, but that is not where the action is taking place. The whole issue of China and India and what's going to happen in the next 50 years, maybe, you know, the whole East becoming much more important than the West is equally important. How is that going to impact a place like the Horn? I think, you know, if we totally miss out on this very important global dynamics, I think we will be left behind.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. marka hore dhammaantiin waa mahadsantihiin. aniga sidoo kale waa markii ugu horeysay aan kasoo qayb galo nasiib yeeshay wadankayga lagu qabto shirkan. waxaan leeyahay remark keliya. shirka ilaa maalintuu bilaabmay ilaa hadda waxaan la soo yaro socday habku u dhacayay. waxaa horta aad aan ula yaabanaa iga fajacisay Soomaalida waa qof kala duwan wax ku soo barato si wanaagsan oo wax guul ah tahay, laakiin iyagu hadda markii isu yimaadeen kuwa Faransiiska ku hadlayay kuwa Ingiriisiga ku hadlayay loo kala turjumayo lagana ku sii tartamay. waxaana la jooga dad kale oo ajaanib ah, laakiin ayagu afkeena ay bateen. waxay ilaahay inay xiisayn lahaayeen ba haddii afkeena aanu ku soo bandhigi lahayn cilmigaanu baranay. runtii waa nasiib darro Soomaaliga u soo weeday. waxaana ka barakacaysaa Soomaaliga inuu sii horeedayo maanta indhagarabkiisa haafaa kale ay ku indhagarabkii af Soomaaliga aqoonyahankooda hadday maanta aqoon kale iyagii loo kala turjumay afkooda iskuba fahmi lahayiin ay isu gaadhsiin kari waayaan. waa hawlinteeda reer bataana laga taxadar mararka dambe waa mahadsantihiin.
En honneur pour Djibouti, puisque nous sommes reçus à Djibouti où les langues officielles c'est le français et l'arabe. Je ne parle pas l'arabe, le français c'est l'arabe. Pour ce qui est du temps, c'est toujours le cas qu'on n'a pas assez de temps de présenter nos sujets. Je pense que c'était aux conférences de Berlin, il y avait un Somalien qui disait, il avait 10 minutes pour présenter son sujet. Et il disait c'est une punition pour un Somalien de se maintenir à seulement 10 minutes. Je pense que c'est pour n'importe qui, en fait. Mais en même temps, il y a des choses oralement. Mais il faut le voir comme juste des étapes et on continue. C'est pas fini ici, on continue dans 3 ans et entre-temps, on fait le dialogue autrement aussi. Pour ce qui est des langues, depuis qu'il y a des gens qui écrivent sur la Corne de l'Afrique, ça remonte à très longtemps finalement, au moins 2000 ans, il y a des documents écrits. Alors, on ne peut pas se passer des traductions, des interprétations, d'être finalement multilingue pour faire les études somaliennes. Dans l'idéal, nous devrions tous apprendre le somali assez bien pour pouvoir participer au dialogue en Somalie. Mais en même temps, je veux défendre aussi ceux qui ne parlent pas somali. Je pense qu'il y a quand même des apports, des pensées qu'on peut faire dans d'autres langues. Et pour ce qui est de Djibouti, d'abord je vais dire quelque chose encore sur le sujet, l'équilibre ou déséquilibre des sujets traités. Les organisateurs du congrès sont aussi dépendants des gens qui contribuent. On lance des appels, mais c'est comme de lancer une bouteille à la mer avec le message dedans, et on ne sait pas la réponse qu'on va avoir. Mais finalement, même si on a lancé des appels pour des sujets spécifiques ou des domaines spécifiques, ce qu'on reçoit peut changer l'équilibre qu'on avait prévu. Donc c'est l'apport de tout le monde qui doit se faire ressentir dans le congrès. Et encore, pour finir, je voudrais faire l'éloge aux interprètes que nous avons eus, qui jonglent 3 langues au longueur de la journée. Je suis époustouflée, j'ai travaillé comme interprète, je serais absolument morte au bout d'une journée. Là, ils ont fait 3 jours.
I have 3 things I would like to mention quickly as a parting kind of a statement. One is about politics. I agree with the overemphasis on politics لكن هتم لك عنيسو وانا حقلا. Yeah, it's itching like hell. So you have to scratch it. Politics is scratching it. But I think there's good study of politics and there's pernicious study of politics. And we want to avoid the pernicious one. I have talked about that in my presentation. But it is the great question for the Somali society today. What to do with ourselves and how to live together. That's a great political question. And it's an exciting question. But how we treat it and how we approach it becomes really the central concern. That's one. Two, if we don't write, please read. It would be nice to write and read both. But if you don't want to write, read at least. Because without either writing or reading, or both of them, then it is the dialogue of the deaf. You see, Macalester said the center of gravity. And you know that that is almost worthless, really. And then the final point I want to say is this. I want to conclude with an Arabic poem I learned a long time ago. For those of you who don't think that I speak Arabic, I'm going to show myself today. and I think this line is from a very famous Arab poet, great poet. By the name, I think, I'm not sure, but I think, in the name of Al-Mutanabbi. Those of you who speak Arabic. And I particularly want to share this with my colleague Abdurrahman Badi, who is sitting here, because he has been rightly so, but harping on new ideas. What the new ideas in the new way, you have to bring it too, not just us. And here's my line. وَإِنِّي وَإِن كُنْتَ الْآخِرَ زَمَانَهُ. If I am the last of my own time. أَتَانُ قُدَّمْ بَيَانُ وَقْتَ جَيْدِ يَأْتِي قُدَّمْ بَيْ وَإِنِّي وَإِن كُنْتَ الْآخِرَ زَمَانَهُ لَأَعْتِي بِمَا لَمْ تَسْتَطِعُ الْأَوَائِلُ. وَإِنَّ كَانَ وَحْدَ فِي قَوْمِهِ أَنَيْكِ. I have to bring into the world something that the ones who preceded me were unable to do. Never good.
That's Arabic, Kadar Ahmed. That's
No, just very quick following up on Suzanne's comment about language. This suggests to me that we need to do collaborative research. So people who know Somali poetry really well and can excavate its meanings and its literacy need to work with someone who can read Arabic sources, need to read with someone who can have access to the European archives. You know, we need people working on big questions, maybe together, because no one of us has all the tools to do it. And this may be one of the things that a new research center or think tank could do, is to bring people together working with their own skills and tools on big questions.
We're going to have our last speaker, Kadar, because he also is going to link us to the reality in Djibouti and what we are supposed to do tomorrow. I take this chance to congratulate, to pay tribute, to express sincere gratitude to the President of Djibouti, to the people of Djibouti, specifically to the CERD, the Djibouti Research Institute, the University of Djibouti, and the Djibouti Studies Association, and with some collaboration with the French cooperative French cooperation. Let me say this, we are living in a new age. We have got computers. You can continue praise or criticism or suggestions on the Congress when you go home by using the email. As my daughter mentioned you, I learned the email only last summer. And I was taught by my son, who is about 15 then, and if I didn't learn, I would have been out of this Congress, because the Congress had a big debate between Ohio and Djibouti, which one would be number 10, which would be number 11. But I was able to participate, and I'm still able to participate, so I feel I'm part of the modern age.
Thanks to you, Doctor.
And so those are my thanks on behalf of all of you. Now let's have Brother Kadar have the last word.
جواد ما سنتي محن حسين أنا وحن كل ما من الصومالي وحن هتا ما برامج عليا كسوق الجرياشة إن كسوق جوابي باقي مشيني إن جبوتي مادان وإلي مادان علمي أو يوجد بيان علمي مرتي إن قيبها مجتمع جبوتي هي عالم كمان وحن ما عليا إن بدي طبقة أو هل كان فرديا أو إجلسنا أو ضمنت هذا الكون دونه وحن ساعات الوقت ما هذا يوجد لنا مدحنا جبهة جبوتي أو إن سي فضوت إن شركة وهو سوتجري إنه إن قصونه كل يوم تكلم عن نغيا ويبدأ كريان إن تاسن ما تقول أخي وحكلون شيء إن السوسار دونه وهاي يتكلم عليه هالكم بروسيدي كذا السوسار دونه وحنا حسوسية قفل وصو تبي دونك من موضوع إنه صادره سيدا ولا صادره الموضوع يسي ولا ما يستهم أفقدنا بقرناده صومالي عربي فرنسيس إنجليزي أفكستا بقرناده وحرجيننا إن وصباحه سواء ترجمين أو نقول ما أفكي أو بقري لو واحد سنترو وحنا كنا مفروضين دق يسوي تبيو بار إيميل موضوع يسيونا أنت مثلا بقول كل واحد سديد ولا في حياتها ورك إنك عاوة يا دري حسين سبحان الله لو واحد الله إن صورتي نبى حل هذا إن إلا بحر بعد الحيس وحنا الأسبوع بدنا تضوّد الصباح نيمو نلف هوتيل تضوّد يبركنا العيد بدنا وحنا العيد ولا بس ومن سوين نقول دونه لبيت وانكا دهور نيمو من نسوين نقول دونه أفر تجرب نيمو مركا إما كنا بحيو ورغبا ترى الأسبوع عليه ميتكا إن البحثان هذا غير قليو يإن ميتكا لدورنا يو سو نقطك بريت وانكا أنبا إن أفرتا كرنيو هذا هذا كسول دبيو حن وفصل دسي دريس وها بدي قد طبق هذا إن شركة
والله صدقني خضر marka hore waxaan mahad u celinayay dadka ka soo qayb galay marka xiga dad badan ayaa imaqashiyay inuu shirku si wacan u dhacay laakiin anigu ma qabo haddiise aan rumaysto waxaan maleynayaa wacnaantiisu inay ka timid imaaminka dad wacan oo wanaagsan oo yimid ayaa nidaamkii aanu diyaarinayna qurxiyey nidaamkaanu diyaarinay muu qurxin taasaa rumaysnay laakiin dadka yimid ayaa quruxda u yeelay boonkeyga saddexaad waa cafis weydiisan soomaalidu waxay tidhaahdaa nin habari dhashay halma seegi waayo waxaan idin weydiisan inaad raalli ahaataan in badan oo na seegtay ayaa jirta ereygayga afraad waxa weeye cilmi haddaanu qaban qaabinay shirkan annagana waxbaa nooga kordhay oo ummadi markay samaysato xarun cilmi baadhiseed iyo jameecad waxay u gudubtay inay bulshadeeda gaadhsiiso inay dhaafto heerkii ahaa inay fahanto waxay arkayso ereygayga u dambeeyaana wuxuu noqoni mustaqbalka miyay habboon tahay uun iminka soddon sano Somali Studies-ku soo jiray waa kongareskii tobnaad in lagu la ahaado uun maqan haybiye aqoonyahan bulshadiisa 10 sano ka horeeya undu weegin miyaan la isweydiin karin waana su'aal in maaha arrinta kuwa inaga wanaagsan yahay waayo xooluhu way hor socdaan xoolihiisa u qaatay oo kala